Most millionaires you hear about are not as rich as you think. Although about 24 million Americans have a net worth over $1 million, only around 9 million can actually access $1 million in liquid assets. That means the majority are millionaires on paper, not in practice. Owning a $1 million home can mean you're asset rich, cash poor. Your wealth is trapped in walls instead of your bank account. So why does home equity leave so many millionaires stuck rather than free? If you've ever wondered what truly separates financial freedom from the illusion of wealth, you're about to find out. Let's look at why so many people who are technically millionaires still don't feel financially free. The answer comes down to how wealth is measured and where that wealth actually sits. Your net worth adds up everything you own: home, savings, retirement accounts, then subtracts what you owe. For most Americans who reach that $1 million milestone, a huge portion of their net worth is tied up in their primary home. That sounds impressive, but it can create a false sense of security. Here's the surprise. Of the 24 million net worth millionaires, only a tiny fraction have $1 million in liquid assets. You want to know how few? Just about 2.3% of adults, or roughly 6 million people, actually have $1 million or more in investable liquid wealth. That's a massive drop from the headline number. About 1 in 11 adults is a net worth millionaire, but just 2.3% are investable asset millionaires. That gap shows why counting your home can mask your real financial freedom. Think about what this means in everyday life. Your home might be worth $1 million, but you can't pay rent or medical bills with home equity unless you sell or borrow against it. So while your net worth might look impressive on paper, it doesn't always translate to money you can use when you need it. If an emergency comes up or you want to seize a new opportunity, you're limited by how much of your wealth is actually accessible. This difference between net worth and liquid assets is more than just a technicality. It's a reality check for millions of people. Take a couple in their 60s who own a $750,000 home outright and have $250,000 in savings. They're worth $1 million, but they're not in a position to retire comfortably. Most of their wealth is locked in their house, so they still depend on a steady income to cover bills, healthcare, and daily expenses. Selling the home or taking on debt might be their only options if they need extra cash, which isn't ideal. Now compare that to someone who lives in a modest apartment but has $900,000 in index funds and $100,000 in cash. Their net worth is the same, but their financial situation is completely different. They have flexibility. They can handle emergencies, invest in new opportunities, or even retire early if they want. That's what real financial freedom looks like. Having wealth you can access and use, not just numbers on a balance sheet. The difference comes down to liquidity. Liquid assets like cash, stocks, or funds in a checking account are available whenever you need them. Illiquid assets like your home might be valuable, but they can't pay for groceries or cover an unexpected expense unless you go through the process of selling or borrowing. That's why focusing on liquid wealth gives a much clearer picture of your financial health. Owning a house can be a smart long-term investment, but its value is locked up until you take specific actions, like selling, refinancing, or getting a reverse mortgage. None of those options provide the immediate flexibility that liquid assets do. So while it's easy to feel secure seeing a high net worth, the real question is, how much of that wealth is actually working for you right now? It's this distinction between being net worth rich and having true financial freedom that reveals what matters most for financial security. If your wealth is mostly locked away in your home, you might find that your day-to-day experience doesn't match the millionaire label. This is why understanding the difference between wealth on paper and wealth you can use is so important. What happens when your net worth tells one story, but your bank account tells another? This is the reality facing millions of Americans, and it's the key to understanding what separates the illusion of wealth from true freedom. Let's get clear on what really sets financial freedom apart from just having a high net worth. As we saw, two people with the same $1 million net worth can have very different access to cash depending on their asset mix. The heart of the issue is the difference between liquid and illiquid assets, and how that difference shapes your daily life, your options, and your peace of mind. Liquid assets are things like cash, checking accounts, and investments you can sell quickly. Funds you can use at a moment's notice. Illiquid assets, on the other hand, include things like your home. While your house might be valuable, you can't tap into that value easily. Home equity is wealth you can't spend without breaking open your vault, either selling or borrowing. This distinction matters most when life throws you a curveball. Imagine losing your job. Would you rather tap into your savings instantly or wait months selling a house at market rates? That's the practical difference between having your wealth in liquid assets versus having it tied up in your home. Emergencies don't wait for the real estate market to cooperate. If your money is accessible, you can handle the unexpected, medical bills, car repairs, or even a sudden opportunity without scrambling. If it's locked in your home, you're left with tough choices. Take on debt, refinance, or sell, each with its own costs and risks. Many people assume owning a valuable home means they're financially set, but the reality is more complicated. Take retirees who've spent decades paying off their mortgage and now live in a house worth $1 million. They might look wealthy on paper, but if their liquid savings are low, they're often living on a tight budget, relying on Social Security or a modest pension. Everyday expenses, healthcare costs, and home repairs can quickly eat away at their cash reserves. To access their home equity, they'd have to sell, downsize, or borrow, none of which are simple or stress-free decisions. This is why so many retirees with high net worths still find themselves worried about bills or unexpected expenses. Their wealth is real, but it's not flexible. Home equity can't pay for groceries or a new roof unless you take on new debt or move out. Even if you do sell, transaction costs, taxes, and the hassle of moving can eat into your gains. And if the housing market is down, you might not get nearly as much as you expected. Contrast that with someone who's built up liquid investments. They can pay bills, handle emergencies, or take a trip without touching their principal. They don't have to worry about selling a major asset or qualifying for a loan. Their financial freedom comes from having options and control, being able to make choices based on what's best for them, not just what's possible given their asset mix. The emotional impact of this difference is huge. Knowing you have money available when you need it brings peace of mind. It means you can help family, take off work, or pursue new opportunities without fear. You're not just hoping your home value will rise, you're actually able to use your wealth to support your life right now. So if you want true financial freedom, focus on building liquid assets. These give you the flexibility to respond to life's surprises and the confidence to make decisions on your own terms. Home ownership can be a great investment, but it shouldn't be your only strategy for building wealth. But having liquid assets is just one part of the equation. The next step is figuring out how to use those assets to create ongoing income. So you're not just living off savings, but actually generating money that supports your lifestyle. So how do you turn your savings into a steady income stream that funds your life without selling anything? Let's explore. When you compare the security of passive income to the hope of home appreciation, the difference in financial freedom becomes clear. Owning $1 million home may look impressive, but it doesn't solve the day-to-day challenges of paying bills, covering emergencies, or keeping up with ongoing expenses. Instead, it can leave you in a position where you're constantly juggling costs, property taxes, repairs, insurance, without any income coming in from the asset itself. That's why relying on home appreciation alone often leads to uncertainty, especially as you get older and your ability to earn an active income declines. Passive income takes a completely different approach. Rather than waiting for your home's value to rise, you focus on building investments that pay you regularly, like dividends from stocks, interest from bonds, or withdrawals from retirement accounts. These sources put cash in your pocket each month, no matter what the real estate market is doing. This steady stream of money gives you the power to handle life's expenses as they come, instead of hoping that your home's value will someday translate into usable funds. The challenge for many people is that the American dream has long centered around home ownership. Buying a house is often seen as the ultimate sign of financial success, and it does have real benefits. It forces you to save, it can protect you from rising rents, and it often appreciates over time. But the problem comes when your wealth is almost entirely tied up in your home. For retirees especially, this can create a situation where you're house rich but cash poor. You have a valuable asset, but you're living on a fixed income, and your savings may be shrinking every month just to keep up with basic costs. Maintaining a high-value home doesn't just cost money. It can actually make your financial situation more stressful. Every year brings new expenses, from repairs to rising property taxes. If most of your net worth is in your house, you're forced to make tough choices when you need cash. Selling the home or downsizing comes with its own set of complications. Real estate commissions, moving costs, and the emotional challenge of leaving a place filled with memories. Borrowing against your home through a reverse mortgage or a home equity loan can provide some cash, but it also adds debt and can limit what you leave for your family. Passive income, on the other hand, gives you options. Let's say you've built up a portfolio of investments, index funds, dividend stocks, or Roth IRA that pays out 4% annually. On a $1 million portfolio, that's $40,000 a year in income. You can use that money for anything you need without selling your investments or worrying about market timing. This kind of income doesn't just cover your bills. It gives you the flexibility to handle emergencies, travel, or help out family, all without touching the principal. The security of passive income is especially important during retirement. While your home's value might fluctuate or stay locked away, your investments can keep generating cash flow year after year. Even modest, consistent investing over time can turn into a reliable source of income. The key is that your money is working for you, not just sitting in the walls of your house. It's also important to recognize that accessing home equity is rarely as simple or cost-free as it sounds. Selling a home takes time and comes with fees. Borrowing against your home adds risk and can reduce your future options. In contrast, liquid investments can be accessed quickly, often with just a few clicks or a phone call. This immediate access is what makes passive income so powerful. You're not dependent on the housing market or forced to make major life changes just to get the money you need. Focusing on passive income doesn't mean you have to give up on home ownership altogether. A house can be a valuable part of your financial plan, providing stability and a place to call your own. But it shouldn't be your main strategy for building wealth or achieving financial independence. The real advantage comes from building assets that generate income, so you're not just wealthy on paper, you have real, usable cash flow that supports your life. Understanding why passive income beats home appreciation is the first step toward a more secure financial future. The next step is figuring out how to actually build that kind of wealth, especially if most of your assets are currently tied up in your home. Building liquid wealth is a practical shift that can make your finances more resilient and give you real choices. The focus here is on assets that you can access quickly: cash, savings, and investments that are available when you need them. These resources are what help you handle emergencies, take advantage of opportunities, and live with less financial stress. If most of your money is tied up in property or other liquid assets, the challenge is learning how to gradually rebalance your portfolio so you have more flexibility. Start by understanding why liquid wealth matters. Cash in a savings account, funds in a Roth IRA or 401k, and investments in index funds all count as liquid assets. Unlike home equity, you don't need to sell anything or take on debt to access these funds. This is crucial when life throws you a curveball. For example, if you face a sudden job loss or a large medical bill, having liquid assets means you can respond right away without scrambling to sell your house or take out a loan. This is the foundation that lets you make decisions based on what's best for you, not just what's possible. A lot of people only realize how much of their net worth is locked up after taking a closer look at their finances. It's easy to feel secure owning a valuable home, but that security fades if you don't have enough cash for daily expenses or emergencies. The good news is you can start shifting your focus at any time. The process is about making steady, intentional changes to how you save and invest. One of the most effective ways to start is by contributing to retirement accounts. Roth IRAs and 401ks are accessible to most people and offer powerful benefits. A Roth IRA lets your investments grow tax-free, and you can withdraw your money in retirement without paying taxes. A 401k often includes employer matching, which is essentially free money added to your account. Even small, regular contributions add up over time, especially with the power of compounding. If you're just starting out, even $50 or $100 a month can make a real difference in the long run. Diversifying into index funds is another simple strategy. Index funds let you invest in a wide range of companies with a single purchase, reducing your risk and making your investment journey straightforward. You don't need to become a stock market expert. Just set up regular contributions and let the market work for you. Over time, the growth from compounding can turn modest monthly investments into a substantial cushion of liquid wealth. For example, investing $200 a month in an index fund at a 7% annual return could grow to more than $100,000 in 20 years. Consistency is more important than the amount you invest. Many people believe that you need a large sum to get started, but the reality is that small, steady steps are what build momentum. The key is to keep going, even if your contributions feel minor at first. Over time, the results become more visible and more meaningful. If your net worth is mostly in your home, you still have options to build liquidity. Refinancing can sometimes free up cash, but it's important to avoid taking on excessive debt. Another approach is to redirect a portion of your income towards savings and investments. Even if you start small, you're moving in the right direction. For homeowners, a home equity line of credit, HELOC, can provide access to funds for investment purposes, but use this tool carefully. The goal is to convert some of your liquid wealth into assets that are accessible and can generate income. It's never too late to start. Many people pivot their financial strategies later in life, reallocating assets to create a more balanced and flexible portfolio. Even small changes, like increasing your retirement contributions or opening a brokerage account, can help you move toward greater financial independence. The important thing is to take action and make your money work for you in ways that support your goals. Imagine the relief of knowing you have savings and investments generating income every month. That kind of security doesn't just help you pay bills. It lets you make choices about your life and your future. You're no longer dependent on selling assets or taking on new debt just to meet your needs. Instead, you have a financial foundation that supports you no matter what comes your way. Shifting your focus to liquid wealth isn't about abandoning home ownership or making drastic changes overnight. It's about building a more flexible, accessible form of wealth that gives you real control. When you prioritize liquid assets, you're setting yourself up for a future where financial freedom isn't just a number. It's something you can actually use. Understanding the real meaning of financial freedom comes down to one question. How much of your wealth can you actually use when you need it? A high net worth can look impressive, but if most of it is tied up in your home, you might not have the flexibility to handle life's challenges or take advantages of new opportunities. The real goal is to balance home equity with liquid assets and passive income. This approach lets you cover unexpected expenses, invest in what matters to you, and enjoy a more secure retirement. By shifting your focus toward accessible wealth, you set yourself up for stability and choice. Start today by reviewing your finances and making small changes to build more liquid assets. Each step moves you closer to financial independence, where your wealth is not just a number, but a resource you can rely on.